All right. Well, all right. Let's see if we stick true to this or like what we kind of switch up on.
Yeah,
Dude, in my original bracket by myself, I had Maryland winning or going to the championship because everybody picks Florida. So it's still the pick I want to make, but I don't
yeah. Are you feeling a little scared after that UConn game?
yeah.
Are we
I,
recording?
yes, I'm recording. So welcome back everybody to Dribble and Drive. We're
All
doing
right.
our second chance bracket today. So yeah, let's just talk about it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I had Maryland in my original bracket going to the championship, losing to Houston. That was just one of my original brackets. But so UConn, they kind of gave Florida a little scare. I wouldn't say that makes me, wary of Florida. I'd say more so that just makes me aware. All right, UConn's so good. Like I'm not like UConn. Who else has championship experience right now besides UConn? Nobody. So I think it's more about UConn than Florida. I'm dying to see what you think about that.
yeah. No, I mean UConn put up a fight. That's the defending national champions. So I think that kind of speaks for itself. What do you think of like Hurley post game, like yelling, in the hallway and stuff, and that the communications director was like threatening a journalist?
Yeah, I think it's disgusting, honestly. I mean, like I don't mess with that stuff. Like, come on. Yeah, like that's not nepotism, but like that's just holding your power and like ruining other people's lives, as they literally said word for word. That's horrible. That's horrible. Don't say stuff if you don't want to out, you know?
He's so emotional, Hurley. He's like it's kind of like over the top. Like it's like, dude, like you lost a close game. It's all right. Or
Right?
he's like, ref screwed us. Like, come on, dude. Can't win it all every year, right?
Yeah, dude, I kind of feel the same way. Like, there's nothing wrong with being emotional to a certain point, but once you're, really taking it out, really kind of embarrassing yourself. That's horrible. I mean, what are you doing? Like, he's such a good coach. I get you're competitive, but why ruin your legacy in a way?
Yeah. Like, so we'll see. We'll see what he does next year.
I guess it's part of him being such a good coach. And I mean, this is even more testament for people to come to UConn. I mean, they win two national championships, lose guys like Tristan Newton, Stefan Castle, Donovan Clingan, and more, Cam Spencer, and more, and then come back and get the 8 seed, make noise in the tournament, win a game, and then bring the number one seed in the country, Florida, to
The
two
last
points. Two
possession.
points. The
Yeah.
last possession, you were in control of that game. I mean, it just so turns out that sometimes or most of the time, the best team pulls through and gets the win, and that's what Florida did. But UConn, I mean, you could just see the experience. You can tell, okay, this is the team that's won back-to-back championships.
Yeah. What's his name? Hold up, just pulling it up here.
Caravan's a beast. Dan Hurley, though, I mean,
Walter Clayton. He made some big shots in that game.
that dude's disgusting. Defensively, too, he's a dog.
So I don't know. I don't know if that was like a good scare for Florida. It's like good to win a close game in the tournament. I think they got some challenges ahead. So I think
And
I
where
don't,
I'm at with Florida right now is like I said, I picked Maryland to win my bracket, but I just can't pick against Florida right now. I can't pick four seed Maryland. Um, they, I mean, they hit that game winner. They got a lot of momentum going. Derek Queen, beast, all that. But he's a freshman. I heard this dude speak. This dude sounds like younger than a freshman. Like that's insane. First of all, um, he just sounds like a high schooler. I
yeah,
can't pick this
this
team against Florida. And
sounds
they
like he's
were,
got priorities with NIL. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
right. Like it's kind of crazy. And then, dude, even more so, um, like dude, I don't get it. I really, I
Hold
don't
up.
know.
I got someone outside. I got my window open. I'm just gonna close it.
That. But yeah, dude, it's like I can't pick against Florida right now. Like Maryland's too young. They don't have the talent that stacks up with Florida. I can't do it. I can't bring myself to commit to that Maryland pick. I can't do it. The dude sounds like he's a high schooler. They shouldn't have been in that game with Colorado State. We've talked about how Colorado State, Mountain West teams, we're not picking them for good reason.
Yeah,
Um,
that Colorado State team was good though, but
they were good, but I mean, you
yeah,
know,
still they should have
12 seed.
their defense, like they should not have won that game.
That's what I'm
So,
saying. Now, I can't
hey,
pick them against Florida now, right?
what'd you think about that travel? Did you think that was a travel or not? Because I'm gonna be honest, like if you've been watching basketball, like that's not really a travel. Like
No,
that's
I
he took
mean,
1, 2, 3, got the
he took,
shot.
yeah, dude, 0, 1, 2. That was a zero step. My only thing is that apparently that's not a college rule. Apparently that's only an NBA rule. Is that true?
Yeah, I don't know. I
That's
don't
not how
really
they
know
call
anything
it,
about that, but
you
yeah,
know?
they don't call that 99% of the time. So, I mean,
It's
that's a
definitely not a
basketball
travel.
play.
Yeah, it's definitely not a travel in the NBA. Like you said, it's a basketball play. I
Yeah.
mean,
So
it's
I feel
not.
like people complain about that are kind of the casuals. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. It's like okay, you're only watching March Madness. They don't call that. So
Yeah.
I agree with you there. But I do think
They
it's
probably think
interesting,
everything else is a travel too. So,
right? Yeah,
like,
exactly. It's that kind of thing. But I do kind of think it's interesting how the college rule is different. Because technically by the rules, it would be a travel, but because they don't allow a gather step, but that was a clear gather step, clear zero step. If you know ball, you know what I'm talking about. I
yeah.
completely agree with you.
So I saw all that outrage online and I was kind of like, this is kind of unwarranted, I feel like.
What I'm saying, dude, I completely agree. I mean, like, come on, we're not complaining about that one. That wasn't even the most brutal one. Like that one was a clear zero step. You know, like you could see the zero step. So I agree. So yeah, we're both picking Florida over Maryland.
100%.
Yep. And then we can just stay in the West real quick. Texas Tech, Arkansas.
All right.
What do we think? I mean, I feel like it's not the worst. It's not the worst draw in the world for Arkansas. You look at Ken Palm, Arkansas's got the 17th ranked defense. Texas Tech is 37th. So that's at least an advantage for Arkansas, at least one. Texas Tech is obviously a top five offense, and they're usually known for their defense. So you're probably going to get more than the 37th ranked. But it is something. And Arkansas is hot. They beat Kansas, the seventh seed. They beat St. John's, the second seed. That's two games they're not supposed to win. So, I mean, you can't
Yeah.
count them out.
No, this is definitely going to be like a close game, I think. But I think Texas Tech will pull through. I mean, they beat Houston this year. I think they're really battle tested. Um, Arkansas, I feel like this is kind of where the magical run comes to an end. Like this team was not a tournament team the whole first half of the season. I know it's different now, but I feel like Texas Tech, they've been solid all year. They got two guys averaging 15 plus points with JT Toppin and Darian Williams. So I'm gonna roll with them. They have notable wins over Arizona, Houston, Baylor, Kansas.
They beat Kansas too.
Yeah,
Dude, JT Toppin's a beast, man. A beast. 18 and 9 a game.
yeah.
Um,
I just don't like Arkansas. They've had trouble stringing together wins throughout the season, and like I don't know what their largest win streak of the season is, but I'm gonna guess it's not larger than three or four. So
yeah. And they ran into a Kansas team that, although seeded higher, I mean, seven seeds are definitely not invincible. And then two seed St. John's, I mean, great defensively. Patino's obviously amazing, but we kind of knew there was something up with their offense.
yeah,
Um,
we knew that if their offense, was they could be really like extremely bad, not just like below average,
yeah.
and that's
And
what killed them.
the analytics backed it up. So yeah, completely agree. But yeah,
So, so with that being said, so teams with the 1 or 2 seed that weren't ranked in the preseason coming in can't go to the Final Four. So that St. John's is already eliminated. So now we have the one team left is Michigan State. So we'll get to that in a minute. But
okay. So yeah, let's talk about that. We can start with the Auburn-Michigan matchup. Auburn, obviously, not they didn't dominate Alabama State or Creighton. Creighton kept them pretty close for the most part. Ryan Crockbunner, however you pronounce his name, to be honest, he gave some trouble to Johnny Broom. Um, so yeah, could Michigan give Auburn troubles with their size?
I think so, but I don't know. I just think like even though Michigan has the size, like they have to put up a lot of points to win, where I feel like Auburn, they're putting up 80 points on the regular, and Michigan's gonna have to put up like a ton of points to pull this off. Um, I just I don't know. I feel like all these one seeds are so great. Oh, look who's on.
What up,
What's
Griff?
up, fellas?
What's
Welcome,
up?
Griff, to the show. We're talking about the Auburn-Michigan matchup right now.
We're on the
We
first one still.
Yeah. Oh, well, we picked Texas Tech and we picked Florida.
Yeah, we just did that one, so
I think the Texas Tech one is really hard to pick that upset. I'm not gonna lie. It's like you want to call them one of the weaker, like top three seeds, but I feel like they deserve a lot of their respect. They were pretty good in the Big 12, but
Yeah,
I still don't hate the Texas Tech pick, to be honest with you.
we
It's
were
tough
more
to pick
so
that upset.
thinking,
Oh,
yeah, we were more so thinking like the Arkansas like Cinderella sort of story just is done. Like that's
mhm.
it's over with.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's got to come to a halt here. Texas Tech is pretty good, but yeah, Michigan, Auburn. Griff, what do you think about that? Or Anthony, did you kind of finish what you had to say about that
Yeah,
game?
totally, totally. I am so intrigued by this game, to be honest with you. I love Michigan a lot. I think you got that memo after the first pod that I was on. I think Wolf and Golden are probably gonna give Broom a lot of problems. I've seen some stat earlier. Somebody else posted on social media. Broom's averaging like 11 points or something this tournament in the two games so far. He
10.
averaged like 18 this season. Like I think both those guys give him trouble. Like either way, on both ends of the floor, I think Golden gives him trouble on defense, especially just like he's just gonna hack a shack him. That's what people have been doing to Broom like the whole both games. They're just like sending him the free throw line. He's shooting like 25% from the free throw line in the tournament. I think Michigan might come out on top. To
That's
be
why
honest
I
with you.
think Michigan could give them some trouble. But I mean, Anthony, if you want to kind of finish your point, you said Michigan's gonna have to score a lot of points.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Okay.
think like Auburn puts up 80 on the regular, so I think like Michigan's gonna have to put up like 85, 90 points to win this game, which they can and they have. But I mean, I think all these one seeds are so great. Like we've seen it all through the first few rounds. There's really been not a lot of upsets. So I'm gonna stick with the trend that there's not gonna be a lot of upsets.
Okay. Hmm.
I don't hate it. I mean, like the Auburn definitely has better guard play, no doubt. Like,
Definitely.
Yeah,
Donald
but
but
too.
it's just the matchups between the best players. Like Golden and Wolf are going to be playing against Broom. That's probably what's going to decide this game, to be honest with
yeah,
you.
so
Unless Pettiford just goes crazy
yeah.
or Baker Mazzara, unless one of those guys like has a game, which they haven't been playing like super well. So
Let's
I'm cool
see
with
what
whatever.
I
I'm
don't
cool
even
with
have the
whatever.
bracket in front of me. I should
This
pull
is
that up.
this is a tough one. I mean, this I feel like this is the toughest,
Have you guys made second chance brackets? Like
this is
who
what
have
we're
you
doing.
picked in those?
This is what we're doing. So
Okay.
we got Florida, Texas Tech, and then yeah, I don't know about this one. This is a tough one. We had Michigan in our first bracket. The analytics like them, but yeah, Auburn's a tough draw right now. It's really about can they get back to their game because they haven't really been playing it. Um,
It's just kind of amazing that they haven't been upset yet, to be honest with you. But like, I think that just goes to
yeah,
show like the power of the transfer portal and how top heavy the good teams are. Like
that's
it's
true.
like the upset. I think that is why, even though the transfer portal's been around for 2 3 years now, I think that's why we're not seeing as many upsets this season. If I had to try and give you a reason, that's probably what I would say.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the graphics of like all those starting lineups have a transfer. Most of them have like three or four, but all of them have at
Yeah,
least like one transfer from mid-major school. So these, besides Purdue, Purdue's the only team that has recruited their whole roster. So I mean, I think
that's
it's
actually
like,
interesting. That might add
yeah,
up. Matt Painter's he's kind of a homer, that the coach over there at Purdue. I don't
yes. So I don't know if he
I don't
just
think I'm
recruits
super
guys
surprised
from,
by that, to be honest with you.
yeah, he might just like be like, I want Indiana kids that want to be here. I don't know what his.
Maybe he knows they're committed to them and they won't transfer after going there.
Do you
Yeah,
do you have a bracket, Griff? What's your best bracket looking like right now?
Oh, geez. The best one would probably be it's somewhere in the 90s, definitely. But the one I added to my group of my friends here at Merrimack, like it was, oh my God, it's like 20 something percent. Like it's so bad. It's
That's
pretty
funny.
hilarious though.
yeah.
I
The
can't
So
find it on my iPad. It's on my phone.
I don't know which way we want to go with this game. What do you guys think? Like, which way would you rather lean? Because I don't know. I like Michigan's size, but I also do like Auburn's, volume of scoring. Like, you look at the
I say
numbers.
we bet on Auburn to just like get back to their way, like one of you guys was saying, just like get back to actually playing their game. Like it's got to
Okay.
happen
Yeah,
at some
I
point.
mean,
Like
They beat a
Bruce
really
Pearl's not
good.
a slouch of a coach. Like he's gonna get them rolling, I bet.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I also think
go
this is a
ahead.
popular game for people to pick Michigan, so maybe it doesn't happen. I see a lot of people picking them just because of the size, but
Fade the public, basically.
yeah, but Auburn's been the better team all year. They're amazing, so it's tough. I mean, they're a historic team net rating wise, a lot of numerically, so I got to
And
go with Auburn.
that Creighton team they beat was like a really good
It was
team.
good, and they had
Yeah.
size too. They had size, so I mean, you got to
Yeah,
give
they
it
had
to
that
them.
7-footer, Ryan
They're coming
Cockburner.
off bad
So
game, which like usually I've heard recently that like kind of fuels the fire in teams. Like if you have a bad game, that just like that next game
but
you got to come out like firing, like a lot of fire in a lot of those teams that come off bad play in the conference tournaments, and they like kind of have a vengeance in them.
Facts. What about Ole Miss?
so
You
I was
guys
gonna
have a
say
point. That
too,
that crate was big.
yeah, and they're favored by 10 points in this game, which is like
Auburn is
bizarre. Yeah,
no
like
way.
Hmm,
yeah.
that's interesting. I wouldn't.
That's crazy.
I don't
I'm
know if
gonna
I'd
be
take the
honest. Take the
spread.
Michigan
I
spread.
wouldn't
No,
take -10. Yeah, that's insane.
I would throw the money line in a parlay or something, but
I'm
not.
taking Michigan spread. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
That's too much.
it's kind of crazy how the odds makers like Michigan's or like Auburn so much.
I figured it would have been like 6, 5 or
Yeah,
6 or something.
Yeah, that's where I would have put it probably. Say we
100%.
move to the Michigan State Ole Miss game. This one should be interesting. I've seen
Yeah.
some quotes from Izzo like about kind of like
Ole
denouncing the transfer portal and like coaches going into the portal before the tournament's over. He's like he's locked in on this team he has right now. Like he wants to go deep. I saw something that said like I'm gonna have another deep run in this tournament or I'm gonna die trying. And I just started laughing. Like,
and they're dogs. They're plus
dude,
150.
dude is determined.
Ole Miss is favored.
He's determined. It's kind of awesome.
He is. But
Said
Ole Miss
someone's
is
plus
No,
favored.
150.
no. Michigan State's favored.
Okay,
I
that
have
adds up.
I have Michigan State plus 150, which I saw it yesterday. I thought it was weird. But
What?
yeah, I saw it yesterday on here to confirm. It says Ole Miss minus 175, minus 3.5. Michigan State plus 150. I don't know if that's just ESPN. That's
Wow.
ESPN.
No, are you reversing it? You sure?
Yeah, yeah.
Are you sure?
Ole
Where are you
Miss,
looking on like FanDuel or something, Jack? What are you looking at?
just the Sweet 16 ESPN bet, like the game
Oh, okay.
odds. I don't know. I mean, it
Oh,
could
it
be
definitely
wrong.
pulls up the
I
preview,
was
doesn't it?
shocked. I looked at it in Cushing yesterday, and it was just I was shocked, but I was like, all right,
No, no,
yeah,
no.
I
I'm
mean, it's
seeing I'm
definitely
seeing MSU minus 170,
okay.
minus three and a half.
Maybe they changed it. Let me refresh it. That would okay.
Ole Miss plus 3.5, plus 145.
but I definitely think like this is gonna be a close game, 100%. Like Michigan State's not a team that really runs away with games. They don't score a ton of points. They're great on defense. So, and Ole Miss, they can score the
They
ball.
are they are a top five defense.
Yeah. So I mean,
Ken Palm wise.
we saw Ole Miss kind of let teams hang around a little bit. I mean,
They
they
smoked
smoked.
UNC though. A great game.
Yeah, but then like at the end, remember it got weirdly close. Like so they I don't know what they've been letting teams hang around, so I don't like that. But they have like proven I mean they were a really popular upset pick in round one even, so they've kind
Yeah,
of
but
proven people
I
wrong.
had UNC or San Diego State beating them a lot of the time. I feel like.
Hey, you see
Who did Ole
what's
Miss
his
beat in the
name
second round?
entered the portal too. Um Kid Elliot Cadeau or whatever,
Did he
right?
really?
The kid from
They're playing
UNC.
they're playing commercials of him with a UNC shirt on while he's transferring.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That's a
So,
bad look. I didn't catch that one actually. That's interesting.
but Ole Miss beat Iowa State in the second one.
Oh, that's what it is. Iowa State's a great team. They may be out without Keyshawn Gilbert, but they're still like they're kind of loaded. I'm not gonna lie. I
Yeah, that's
don't. I
still a
didn't.
top 50 team. So,
I can't say I watched that game. I didn't watch Ole Miss for us. Iowa State. I couldn't even have told you before you said that who they played. But like Curtis Jones, Josh Jefferson, Milan Momcilovic, that white European dude. They have like if I usually this is how I judge it. Like if I know multiple players on their roster, there's a pretty good chance that they're pretty good. It's like normally
yeah.
I'll know like the best player, the best two players. Like if I know more than that, I know like four or five players on their team. Chances are they're pretty good. I think that's a big win for Ole Miss. They may have 11 losses I'm looking at. You say they like to let teams hang around, which I don't like either. But
Let's
something
see.
something in the air. I'm just smelling like a crumble from Michigan State for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, we've been using the stat a lot. Teams coming into the year unranked in the preseason and then who get a number 1 or 2 seed in the tournament have never made a Final Four, like all 40.
Hmm.
So, St. John's and Michigan State were the two this year that fit that category.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Um, one's already gone, so we don't, even if we have Michigan State winning this game, we don't have them win the next game. So,
What do we think? Can Ole Miss get hot enough from beyond the arc or not?
No idea. This is such a hard game.
I kind of want to take Michigan State. I feel like they're the better team.
yeah, and I feel like that'll be a good matchup.
And
I think
people,
they get to the Elite Eight.
I think so. And people could really be picking
No,
Ole
this
Miss and
no.
Michigan.
This
Yeah,
is what I kept thinking to myself. I'm sure you guys had the same thought process. Like when I was making my actual brackets, like the full thing, every time I would get to the Elite Eight, I'd be like, I'm literally, or even the Sweet 16, I'd just be like, I keep ending up with just like one, two, three, four, or I keep ending up with 1, 2 in the Elite Eight, and that's like, if it weren't for St. John's getting upset by Arkansas, that's probably exactly what we'd be doing. The only one, like, we're probably going to end up with Duke Bama if we're being real. Like, BYU's a good squad. So is Arizona. Caleb Love's dangerous. But I guarantee you, we talk about this for 20 minutes, end up with Duke BYU or Duke Bama, just like we did Auburn, Michigan State. Florida, like, Maryland's a great team, but Florida has so many better players. It's just like that's not going to happen. St. John's would
yeah,
probably pick over Texas Tech had they not lost. If RJ Lewis didn't play terrible, or the other one is the only one that's kind of a toss up where it's like Houston or Purdue beating them or Kentucky beating Tennessee. Because Kentucky, me and Jack were talking about this yesterday, Anthony. Kentucky has the kid who came from BYU with the coach. He was the leading scorer. He's out for the season. So they're
yeah,
at least missing him, but they still beat I said this, they beat Tennessee twice during the season, both away and home. So that's
yeah.
the only one I could see us not ending up with a 1-2 at, to be honest with you.
And like I always see this thing online. People say it's always harder to beat a team 3 times, you know,
I
when
have heard that.
teams, Gonzaga, they lost twice in the regular season, St. Mary's, then the finals, they beat them. So
Yeah,
like
that's a good
I
point.
don't know that sometimes third luck, third time's the charm. I don't know. So we'll see when we get to that. But here, so we'll pick Michigan State in this one, right?
I like it.
So, all right, let's
Yeah.
move on to
What
the
do you want to go?
East.
Midwest or East?
The
Let's
East
go.
probably, or it doesn't matter. I mean,
Do you want to pick through to the Final Four first?
sure,
So we'll just editing wise, I don't have to go all the way
100%.
later.
Do you think
Uh,
Texas Tech can beat Florida? I mean,
Dude, I think Maryland has a better chance of beating them than Texas
really?
Tech, to be honest.
yeah,
Yeah.
You guys
100%.
both agree there? Okay. How
This might
come?
be a walk, to be
How
honest with
come?
you.
Because I feel like Maryland doesn't have the odds. Like I picked Maryland to go to my national championship originally, but I just don't think they stack up with Florida.
This is what I'm thinking. Like neither of these teams just like you guys see that game. It was the first game like Monday, I think. Or not Monday. I
Yeah,
mean Saturday, not the Sunday. It was the first game Saturday. UConn versus Florida. And the reason they kept that close was because they have like the forwards to play with Florida. Like Florida has, they said their biggest NBA prospect is Alex Condon. He's like the white guy power forward for them. Like they just had way better guards. That's like literally the reason why Florida won that game is just because their guard play was significantly better than UConn's. It's the same exact thing with Florida and Texas or Maryland and Texas Tech. They just don't have the guard play like Elijah Martin and Walter Clayton. They're just better than basically every other backcourt in like the country. So it's like
yeah,
if those dudes don't have like a total slump game, chances are they're not going to lose. It's like the biggest like almost disadvantage that they could have had in the front court was UConn, and they still managed to pull out of that game because their guards were just like so elite. I
yeah,
just think that pulls away, to be honest with you, especially in March. Like guard play is so important.
yeah. JT Toppin's good, but I don't know if he can deal with the size of Florida. He's really undersized, and
More
I
of a
feel like he
power.
might just get yeah, he'd get pushed around. And I think like Maryland has a better chance because they have Queen, a lottery pick in the NBA draft. He can at least go up with that front court. Um, so so we'll pick Florida. I don't think anyone's really, are you guys gonna push back?
Nope.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
So
The
yeah,
Gators.
we got Florida going to the Final Four. Does Auburn follow them as a fellow one
Yeah,
seed?
it's
I'd
Auburn.
say so. Yeah, we can't pick
I know
Michigan
Izzo
State.
wants it.
There's some
I
things
feel
I
that
don't know if their team has it in them.
Yeah, I feel like that Michigan State team, they don't put up a ton of points, and that Auburn team does. So, like, Michigan State's going to have to shoot the lights out in that game, which
Yeah,
doesn't happen very often. Like, they put up
or
six,
just clap them
sixty-five,
up.
70.
and let's not
Yeah.
forget, I mean, they didn't
This
kill
is
their
like
first
top
round.
three
They
offense
didn't
versus top five defense.
they didn't kill Bryant in the first round. I mean, they hung around.
Yeah, that game was a 5-point game at halftime.
Yeah. So
That's
So,
crazy.
yeah,
I,
I think we go with Auburn. There's some things
I think they have too many options to go to. I think
there's some things I
Auburn
do.
like kind of wears down the defense.
Yeah, there's some things I do like about
Go for
Michigan
it, Zach.
State. I feel like they have a lot of guys, they have size, but I don't know. I mean, they do have some really good wins, but I can't pick them, you know? It's tough.
yeah, it was a good run, Izzo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah,
Michigan State can have hockey. I don't know if they're going to the Final Four match.
no. Are we gonna end up with 4 1 seeds in the Final Four?
This is exactly what I was saying. It's just like
Nah, I
weighing
think,
the fact that this is a really top heavy year where that exact thing could happen. And also like saying to myself while making brackets, like this is exactly what doesn't happen. Like I can't just end up with 1, 2, 3, 4 or 4 1 seeds in the final four. It's just like that just doesn't happen. But these four teams are so good, and they've literally been trading back and forth the overall one seed in the rankings like all year. It's like I don't even know. Other
And I,
than Kansas having it like early,
yeah,
these guys have had the one seed the whole year.
and I love this stat. I keep bringing it up. All 4 seeds have a higher net rating than any champion since 2009. So besides last year's
Isn't it?
UConn
I
team,
think
it's
it's other than UConn. Yeah. I've seen
yeah,
that
it's crazy.
multiple times.
So they're dominant. It's the year to have it
so
if there's going to be a year.
I think if we have to pick an upset of the one seed in any region, it's got to be the East.
You think?
I think so.
I don't
Like
know. I don't
I
know.
know I'm
I'm such a
biased
I
and
guess
I
I'm
just
just
want
a
to
hater.
see,
I
yeah,
think
I
it's
just want
I
to see
do.
Duke lose.
You
Oh
think
yeah,
it's Duke?
absolutely. Who doesn't want to see Duke
Really?
lose? But like I don't know if I think they will. Like
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like Purdue has a better chance of beating Houston, but I'm literally just like I'm so much of it. I don't like Duke at all. But I'm for some reason I'm just a Houston hater. Like I like Kelvin Sampson as a coach. Actually, I really like him, but I just always think they're overrated. I don't know why. I know Anthony, you disagree with that. They were like your best one seed, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I think they're pretty good this year, but like in past years, they haven't been great. So it leaves you with that bad taste
They
in your mouth.
lost Jamal Shett. Jamal Shett was
Yeah, they did.
disgusting
They
for them for
did, but
4 years.
they have LJ Cryer. They have
Crowder's nasty.
Milos
Emmanuel Sharp.
Uzan, Emmanuel Sharp. Like they're pretty
Like the
They
solid.
if they
only,
get hot there, they might win the Natty, dude. Like if they could shoot
I
well,
agree. I really agree.
but
But
sorry.
it's
I
kind
don't.
of all on the backs of those two guys, though. It's
d-
the shooting performances of them.
Yeah, I mean, I like
Cryer,
And
Crier's
Arizona
not a
though.
chucker. I'm not gonna lie. He shot chucks.
I
here,
like Arizona.
yeah, I like Arizona too. Didn't they play Duke earlier in the year?
Yes,
Yeah,
and
they won by
Arizona
14.
lost.
Oh wow.
Duke
Yeah,
won by 14.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Wow.
see that.
Dude, I don't know. I feel like Duke's the UConn this year. I'm not gonna lie. Like
That
Florida's
is a
really
real
good. I feel like
that is a real
Florida.
number though, Anthony.
I feel like Auburn. I would rather pick Michigan State to beat Auburn because I feel like they have the size and depth to kind of match up. And I just look at Duke. I love Caleb Love. I love Arizona, but I look at Duke and I'm like, man, like this reminds me of UConn last year. They're so freaking good.
Yeah, and Flags looked like healthy. He hasn't really
Yeah,
looked like he has any issues. So, I
Wow,
mean,
he still
in that,
scored like 18 and 9 last game. Like
dude. If he's
yeah,
not killing you as a
Tyrese
scorer,
Proctor hit like 7 threes. Like
Dude, Cooper
Just wasn't
Flag
Flag's game. Like you feed the hot hand. Like
Flag
had
reminds
nothing
me
to
of
do with the fact.
Tatum so
I think he's 100%.
bro, he reminds me of Tatum so much with how he affects the game, even if he's not like dominating with like
There you go.
30. He'll dice you
Yeah.
up, he'll rebound, he'll play make and defend. Like there's no stopping him.
And
Um,
like when he grabs rebounds, like he gets up the court so quickly, it looks like
yeah,
everybody's in slow motion.
dude, he's better than everyone. He's like
Yeah.
LeBron. Like it's like he just took his little hiatus before the playoffs and now he's ready to just go kill everybody. I'm nervous. I think
Yeah,
he
and I don't
and now you have a guy like Tyrese Proctor stepping up.
Proctor, I feel like in my time watching Duke in the last 2 or 3 years, Tyrese Proctor has been like relevant. Like I've
He
never
has, but
seen
look at
a game
this.
like he has the
And then
last two.
you got two other first rounders.
For Duke, oh, Concanople's disgusting.
Yeah, and then their center, right?
Um, Maluak, I think I think that's his name. I don't know how
Um,
to say it. I could be butchering that.
yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah, he's projected like number 9 or 10.
Yeah, I
I
did see
don't
that. I looked at the mock the other day.
I don't think we can pick Arizona just because I'm looking at their schedule. In the second half of the year, they lost to Kansas State, they lost to Houston twice, uh, both within single digits, but they lost the deciding game to Iowa State and Kansas. So I
Oh,
don't,
they're in the Big 12 now. I forgot about that.
yeah, so
He lost
I
to
don't know.
Houston.
Yeah, I don't see how they're gonna have to be perfect to beat this Duke team.
They did beat Texas Tech twice, but I don't know.
That might
They're
just
gonna
show
need
Texas Tech's shortcomings, to be honest with you.
they're gonna need a 30 ball, 40 ball from Caleb Love to have a
Like,
chance.
Which
yeah,
is
you're gonna
exactly
need
what
that.
happened in the last game against that was Oregon,
It
right? I can't believe
was.
Oregon put up such a fight. People had them on
Yeah.
upset watch against Liberty like all day.
Yeah, man, that point guard really came to play. So,
He's good. He's good. Reminds me of Pritchard, dude. Like, dude, he's
I'm
good.
looking at the rest of. Oh, you're talking about Shellstad, the Oregon kid, aren't you?
yeah.
He,
He was pretty good. I'm looking at Arizona's roster right now. You know, they're guys like they have three decent guards. They have Love. They have the Jaden Bradley number 0. I don't know if you guys remember him. And then Del Orso, who he hit like 4 or 5 like huge free throws. And like I can't really say that I recognize any of the other players. Like I don't know anybody in their front court
yo,
at all. To be
just so you guys know, we have 4.5 minutes left. So if we want to like kind of speed
Okay.
through, let's just see if we can get through. I'll let you guys like just kind of put your inputs in on each game, and then we'll
we
see
can
what we
finish
end
it
up
out,
with.
Anthony, if you want.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah, that's
Houston
facts too.
or BYU Alabama. This is the game I'm looking forward to most.
I don't
BYU,
disagree with that. I don't at all, actually. Damn.
yeah,
Bama's -5.5. They're right in the middle of Auburn and Michigan State.
BYU,
Minus
I'm excited. I'm excited for what they have next season.
This is an
is
upset I can get
BYU with
behind.
Devonta.
BYU over Bama is an upset I can get behind, but everybody's picking it.
I think BYU's got to shoot the lights out, man.
They
And
do.
like I don't know if they
Looking at
can.
the previews, right? Like I'm just looking at their top players. I don't even recognize either of these kids. That's not who I would have guessed were their top players at all.
Richie Saunders is a bucket, and then their center, Keita, is an
60 points a
absolute
game.
beast.
One thing I
Yeah,
will
Is
say,
the Igor guy the big man, I'm guessing?
one thing I'll say is that 24 of the past 25 Natty winners have been top 21 in O, top 31 in D. 8 teams: Duke, Auburn, Houston, Florida, Tennessee, Wisconsin, Iowa State, Gonzaga. So do we look at BYU, the team that beat Wisconsin, one of those 8 teams, and Alabama not being on that list, Alabama being outside the trapezoid of excellence, and say BYU should beat Alabama?
To be honest with you, I don't give him much credit for that
You
Wisconsin
don't?
win, if I'm
Okay.
going to be honest.
How come?
yeah. I don't-
I thought
I
that win
was
over like I think they beat Michigan State, I want to say, to get to the Big Ten final, right? I think. Yeah, because they were the 1 seed and Wisconsin was the 4 seed. I don't know. I remember watching the second half of that game. Just looked a little fluky to me in a way. Like I know it, like that's hindsight's a powerful thing, but I don't know. I just don't think Wisconsin deserved to be a 3 seed, let alone like higher than Michigan. I just always thought they were overseeded. So
That's fair.
yeah. I think
BYU just kind of played their game and they kind of walked over them.
Yeah.
BYU's a team, man. They went on the road and beat Arizona They went on the road and beat Iowa State. So, you know, they do lose to bigger, more physical teams, but I feel like this is a good matchup. Maybe Grant Nelson, I think, might just end up being too
Grant
much
Nelson's a
down
little
low.
banged up too.
Is he? But I think Sears, Nate Oates, they figure out a way to get through.
He came off an injury. He came off the bench last game. He was
Who?
off the bench last game.
Nelson?
Grant Nelson.
Okay.
Hmm.
So, I
He's
mean,
definitely the best big. I'm trying to think. They had the Diabate guy.
like who I want to win, BYU, but like who I think is gonna win, Arizona. I'm sorry.
Bama or do we have
Or
Arizona?
Bama.
My
Bama
bad.
Duke
What
is
am I
going to be sick too.
what
I'm
am I
not gonna
saying?
lie. That would be an awesome game.
Yeah. I think that sets up for an
Watching
awesome
Sears and watching Sears and Proctor go at it.
Okay. And then
Concanoble's averaging 14 points a game.
during this.
Word.
Yo, what'd you think of Diggs to
Oh shit.
Patriots?
Um, I mean, I feel like it's a good move because he needed a receiver who can get open. But at the same time, I am a little worried about him getting in May's head. Like we saw it with Allen, we see him smashing iPads and wanting the ball. I'm just a little worried because the dude's ego and personality are just larger than
Yeah.
life. So like
And
it's not as easy.
that wide
Yeah,
receiver room already has so many like head cases in it between Javon
Polk,
Baker, Jalen Polk. Like that's the
Bourne,
last guy.
Bourne's got an ego. I like Bourne, but he's a large
That's
personality.
like Diggs is the last guy they need in their ear telling them stuff, I feel like. So
Dude, I agree. I completely agree. But I also do like he's good. I don't know.
yeah,
Hopefully
three
they
years,
front loaded that
60,
contract.
yeah, 3 years, 69 million. Not a lot guaranteed. So I think they can move off of it if they want, but be interesting to see him with May. I mean, I still don't think the Patriots gonna win more than 8 games this year. Maybe it'll be 500 at best.
I think so too. I think they end up around 9-8, something like that. I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but I am a little worried about Diggs getting in May's ear. Like, what
Yeah,
do you really
I
need
don't know
that
if
dude in your rookie quarterback's ear?
I don't know if Vrabel just feels pressure to make moves to start winning now because he saw how fast Mayo was gone, and he's like, all right, maybe if we don't turn this around in 2 years, my job could be on the hot seat. So let's go all in right now. Which is
Yeah,
I I don't think the Patriots really need that exactly. So
nah, I don't either. Like, you're not gonna win next year. I mean, cool, win some games, make May look good. But I don't know. I feel like you could have done something else besides Diggs, dude. You need that ego.
no.
I'll pass on. Dude, I think that's worse than Jimmy Butler, bro. Like
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler at least like wants to win. Diggs wants the ball.
Yeah.
Like
I
he
agree
wants his
with you.
ball, bro. And we saw it, dude.
He went from the best team in the AFC East to the worst within like 2 seasons.
Right? Like I don't think it's gonna end well. I hope they front loaded the contract, dude, because if you end up with him making 20, 30 million in 3 years,
What about the Texans? They gave up a second round pick for 7 games to Stephon Diggs.
I saw that coming. Dude, like what are you doing? What are you doing? Think of where that second round pick could be. It could be a starting tackle.
Yeah, to help protect CJ Stroud, but instead you
It's
got
exactly what the
Diggs.
team needs. Let me
So
see if Griff's having trouble joining. Oh
I
shoot. He said he's gonna go to class. So I mean,
oh,
yeah, I didn't know he
and
had
your
class.
class already started, right?
Yeah, so I should probably join in. But if you wanna
Here,
like,
let's finish out just in 1 minute here.
okay, bet.
So we'll have take Houston over Purdue. We just think Purdue, they struggle a little bit, even though they've been great offensively in the tournament. I feel like once they get a more physical matchup, they haven't had a real physical matchup in the tournament yet. So I think, they got a good draw with McNeese. So I think
Yeah.
that's the time Houston knocks off Purdue. And then we'll take Tennessee over Kentucky because I think Kentucky's best player is injured.
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky beat Tennessee twice in the season. It's harder to beat a team a third time. I think this is when Tennessee figures it out, gets past Kentucky, and they move on to the Elite Eight to face Houston. So
I agree with you. And I mean, Tennessee's a good team. They fit all the metrics of a team that will win the championship. They are one of those elite statistical teams, but I think this is where their run comes to an end.
Yeah. So,
Houston's just so good.
yeah.
Both sides of the
So
ball, experience. I'm taking Houston.
I
So
agree
we end
with
up
you.
with the Duke Houston Final Four. Do we take Duke over Bama?
Uh,
Or do we want to
we'll take Houston.
okay, over Duke. Okay.
Houston, Houston, Florida final. You good with that?
Yeah, I like it. I
All right.
I kind of I don't know. I might go with Duke, but I'm cool with it. I think Houston's really good.
And we won't pick a final winner because we'll record again before that. So
Facts.
I'll let
All
you
right,
get
bet.
going.
Word, bro. Peace out. Thank you everybody for listening.
All right. So I wanted to talk about this BYU Alabama matchup. I think BYU has a real shot to beat Alabama. BYU this season, they went into Arizona and beat Arizona. They beat Iowa State twice. This BYU team struggles against more physical teams and defensive teams. They're going to have to shoot the lights out to have a chance to win this game. But that's something they have been doing, and I think they can continue. Um, so that is going to be my game of the week. Richie Saunders, BYU versus Mark Sears, Alabama, Nate Oates. BYU is a program on the rise with Kevin Young coming from the NBA. He's completely reinvigorated this BYU fan base and basketball program. Next year, they have AJ DeBansa coming in, number one overall recruit to join this team that has returning starters. So next year, BYU is going to be a team to look out for. They're going to be highly ranked to start the season. I think they'll be legit. Moving on, I think another great matchup in the first round is Florida versus Maryland. I think Maryland's size up front could really compete with Florida. Derek Queen is an NBA lottery pick. Jacoby Gillespie, I think he can hang with some of those Florida guards, and I expect this to be another great game. Florida, though, I just think they're a different beast with Walter Clayton, Elijah Martin, and their big men down low. They're really a different animal, and I just don't see Maryland being able to beat Florida, but I do think they have a good chance. All right, NIL has just gotten completely out of hand. Rick Pitino just announced that this summer St. John's will be spending $5 million this offseason on players. Drake coach, after coming up from D2 after one season, is leaving for a job at Iowa now. Ben Sturts, his D2 point guard that followed him, is going to come with him. Will Wade knew he was going to NC State, leaving McNeese after having great success there over 2 seasons. Will Wade knew he was leaving before the tournament and announced to his team he was going to NC State. And the biggest shame and mockery of it all is Amir Khan. What an absolute joke. Over $100,000 in NIL money for this kid. It's just a mockery of what the system was made for. And I'm all for opportunity, but come on, he's transferring to NC State now. Like, let's go. Come on. Are you serious? Like, it's just gotten so ridiculous. There just has to be some rules put around it, whether it's salary cap per league, um, you know, transfer limit, and the start date. The fact that people can start transferring before the national tournament is even over. What's the point? You have the NIT and the champions tournament that nobody's watching, and you got all these players that are transferring, so nobody's playing in these tournaments because they don't want to get injured, risk their chance of money, which I understand. Like it's money, go get your money. But it's just gotten so out of hand that mid-major coaches don't have the ability to build a program anymore. Where I go to school now, Merrimack College, teams losing all five starters, three seniors, two players. They lost two transfers last year. How can you build a program when you have players just coming in and out, and you're just scraping at the bottom of the barrel for this talent? And any player over 6'10" wants NIL money just for them to pick up the phone. Like it's like, what is happening? So I'm excited to see, what rules and regulations they put around this because it's clearly not working. And even though this past term was one of the most viewed, I think people are kind of disappointed in the fact that mid majors, some of them compete, keep the games close, but this tournament didn't really happen outside of McNeese, Drake, and the ones that are happening, they just leave the year after. Coaches that have any success, they just leave for better schools. Um, Kind of sad. Richard Pitino won against Marquette, and he's off to the Big East right away. Best school in the Mountain West, and he's just gone like that, off for greener pastures. It's just craziness. If you look at all schools playing right now, there's only one school that has recruited every starting player, which is Purdue. Every single player on Purdue's starting roster was recruited to come to Purdue, and they've been there their whole career. If you look at all these other schools, they have at least one transfer, and most of them have three or four from mid-major schools. These were all the best players at their mid-major level who can play basketball at the highest level. But right now, nobody has any loyalty to stay in school. It's just kind of sad. Another storyline that doesn't get talked about enough is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're continuing to just tear through the league. 12-1 record in the month of March. Shai's putting up 35 points per game this month, and he has run away with the MVP race. People might think he shoots a lot of free throws, but if you look at it compared to how many shots he takes, he's actually taking less free throws than Luka, James Harden, and all these other stars that love going to the free throw line. The Thunder just seem to always find a way, and they're hitting their stride at the right point of the season, heading into the playoffs. Chet's getting healthy. Everybody's getting well rested. Whole roster, Alex Caruso, Isaiah Hartenstein. Everyone's getting healthy and resting up for the playoffs. This is a team that should and will make a run this playoffs to the conference finals. People say the West is wide open, but this is a historically great team. They have a better net rating than the Celtics did last year. That was one of the greatest historical teams of all time. So, people just refuse to believe. So, coming into the final stretch here, first week of April, they got the Lakers twice. So, that should be a really good matchup heading into the playoffs. Give us a little playoff preview. And after that, they're kind of cruising in. Another question I have is, can the Celtics make a push for the number one seed in the Eastern Conference? Cleveland's kind of fallen off a little bit. They lost four straight last week. They lost to the Suns, Kings, Clippers, Magic. They've been resting Donovan Mitchell a little bit. But this is a team that has dominated all season. They've had one little slip up here. I don't think the Celtics are going to be able to catch the Cavs. I think the Cavs will get back on track to finish the season. Just looking at it here, they're playing tough schedule of Eastern Conference team to close out the season. They got Detroit, New York, Indiana twice, New York twice, actually. So I think the Cavs will close out the season strong, and I think they still will be the one seed, even though the Celtics are making a push for that number one seed. I think the most disappointing team this season has to have been the Phoenix Suns. This is a team that you thought, if they brought back some cohesion, KD, Book, Beal, they could somehow make it work and, maybe be a 6 or 7 seed. But right now, they're just fighting to be in the play-in. They have a half-game lead on the Hospital Mavericks. They're worse than the Clippers, the Warriors, the Kings, the Sacramento Kings. So this is a team, man. Phoenix, they're looking to be a first out in the play-in if they can even make it. Got to be one of my most disappointing teams of the season so far. I think we got to talk about the Chicago Bulls. they've been one of the most surprising teams since the trade deadline and trading Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Kobe White, Josh Giddey, Matas Buzelis. These guys are a fun team to watch. If you have a chance to turn on game and watch them at some point, I highly recommend it. Kobe White averaging 25 points per game this month. Josh Giddey has been great, averaging 7 assists, 7 rebounds, almost 15 points a game. So, I mean, these guys, they come out, they fight, they try hard every night. They might not win every game, but man, they've kept some games close that they really shouldn't have. They beat the Nuggets the other night. They beat the Lakers. Uh, one one possession loss to the Rockets. They beat the Magic. They beat the Pacers. So I mean, this is a team that they could. I wouldn't want to see them in the playoffs. If you're the Knicks, if you're the Pacers, that's a team I don't want to see. Talking about the Knicks, Knicks are 5-5 in their last 10 games. Lost to the Hornets, lost to the Spurs, lost to a Warriors team, lost to the Clippers, beat the Blazers by 1. I mean, this is a team that has been really underwhelming. It looks like there's some turmoil going on between Tibbs and the players. Players aren't really agreeing that they're playing way too much. They feel tired, probably all beat up. Um, this is a next team that I think I wouldn't be surprised if they lose in the first round. I think they can win a series in the first round. Right now they are right now they're matched up against the Pistons. Honestly, like I would take the Pistons, I would take the Knicks maybe in 6 or 7, but I'd say the Pistons could put up a real fight. This Knicks team, I just think Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby, you guys traded for 2 underwhelming, overpaid stars. That's what they are, let's be honest. OG Anunoby, he won a championship. He can be a championship piece, but can he really be on a max contract? He averages 16 a game. Mikal Bridges averages 17, but these guys can give you offers, stinkers some nights. They bring it on the defensive end, but with all the minutes they've been playing, that's why these guys are frustrated and they're losing games because these guys play 35, 40 minutes a night. Uh, so yeah, definitely the Knicks. I would not be surprised if you see them lose in the first round. Coming back to it, the Orlando Magic, they're starting to get healthy. They got Suggs. They got, let's see if Suggs been playing. The Hornets, sorry, the Magic, they've been dealing with some injuries, but they still have some encouraging wins. They beat the Lakers last week, beat the Cavaliers. Uh, let's see, lost to Timberwolves by 3. So I think this is a team, Franz, Paolo, they're healthy. When those guys are clicking on offense, they can do really well. And I just wonder, like, next offseason, what can the Magic do to make a move to finally be a contender? And they got to get a center, I think. It's either got to be Domantas Sabonis, Nikola Vucevic. I don't know if Vucevic really fits that timeline. I really like Sabonis. Like, I feel like Sabonis would be a great fit for this Magic team, help with the offensive rebounding. He's an undersized center, but I think he's proven he can overcome that. And I think he would fit in great. His passing really helped free up Franz, Paulo. He would be able to do some more playmaking and will give them a stretch big that they've always wanted with Wendell Carter not really panning out as well as they'd hoped. So that's a team, the Magic. I'd be on the lookout for them to make a move for a big guy this summer, whether it's Sabonis, Vucevic, someone who can shoot. I'm trying to think. I'm looking at it and like Sabonis is the guy that comes to my mind. I want the Magic to go get Sabonis. Think about it. Sabonis, Paulo, Franz, KCP, Suggs. That's an NBA lineup that can win you a playoff series, 100% at least, and make some noise. A trade that gets worse every day is the Luka Doncic trade. I feel bad for Nico Harrison and the fact that Dallas hasn't been able to see what this team looks like fully healthy because I think they would have been a great playoff contender, 100%. But with the injuries, just Anthony Davis not playing a ton, Kyrie down for the season, bunch of role players always in and out of the lineup, Derek Lively. So it's just been really disappointing, and that's why this trade seems worse and worse as the weeks go on. And you see the Lakers just moving up and up the standings. So, um, not defending the trade, but just saying you haven't been able to see the Mavericks side fully play out as you'd hope. Where, maybe if they are fully healthy, they're in the 4 or 5 seed range. You know, maybe you can get up. West is so close. Maybe they can get to 2 or 3. You never know, but yeah, that's just a deal that looks worse and worse every day just because those guys aren't healthy. NBA Six Man of the Year race, I think Pritchard is running away with this award. Naz Reid is the other contender, but I think Pritchard's just comes off the bench. It's 3 or 4 threes every night. That guy's been so money for the Celtics. Knights, Brown or Knights guys don't show up. He really helps. Like he can go out and put 20 up. He can go up put 30. So this guy gets hot. He can win you a game on his own. He's the Six Man of the year. I mean, I never thought I'd say it. The guy's undersized, but absolute dog defensively. Does everything. Unselfish. I mean, what more could you ask for? He's a Boston Celtic. So yeah, going back to the tournament, I think Houston will take Purdue. I think Purdue, that's a team, they got a good draw throughout the tournament so far with facing McNeese and High Point. High Point was hanging around for a little bit in that game. They really cooked on McNeese, but I just don't see how Purdue they got to shoot the lights out if they want a chance, and they got to hope Houston doesn't play well on the offensive side because Houston's always going to grab offensive rebounds. They're going to beat dogs defensively. The only chance Purdue has is to shoot the lights out. Yeah, Purdue's only chance is if Fletcher Lloyd, Braden Smith shoot the lights out while Kaufman Wren just is an absolute unit down below. I really don't see how Purdue wins this game if that doesn't happen. Tennessee and Kentucky, it's harder to beat a team 3 times than twice. And I just think Tennessee can take Kentucky. They lost earlier twice in the season. This is a matchup I'm sure they're looking forward to. Chaz Lanier, Zakai Ziegler. These guys are fired up and ready to go. So I think this Tennessee team, they're able to hold Kentucky to little points. Sorry. They're able to hold Kentucky to as few points as possible. And I think that Tennessee just grinds out a win in this game, low scoring. If they win this game, Kentucky's got to score below 60 points. I think that would be a safe number. BYU Alabama, that's my favorite game of this Sweet 16 round. BYU, man, they are such a fun team to watch. They move the ball like that's an NBA team, the way they move the ball. You know, ball hits the floor once, twice, pass. Ball's never sitting still, which is awesome to watch. Um, but to beat this Alabama team, Alabama's big down low. Um, I think, Mark Sears is going to do his thing. We've seen this Alabama team at times throughout the season just go through some lulls where this second half of the year for this BYU team has been lights out. So let's take a look here. Yep. BYU's last 10 games heading into the NCAA tournament, they were 9-1. Where Alabama, before the conference tournament, lost to Florida, they lost to Tennessee, won a close game with Kentucky, lost to Mizzou, lost to Auburn. These are all high scoring games. So BYU needs to shoot the lights out to have a chance here. And I think they can. I think I give them a really good shot to win this game. Duke and Arizona. Duke's just been so good this year. The only way I think Arizona wins this game is if Caleb Love drops 30, 35 points and puts the team on his back. That's the only way I think this happens. Duke, Cooper Flag, John Shire. He's got these guys playing great. There's no reason to go against them here unless we have an uncharacteristic Cooper Flag performance and Caleb Love's senior experience just shines through in the moment, which can happen, but most likely won't. Auburn and Michigan. I really think Auburn should win this game. Auburn's been tested with really big bigs with Creighton the round before. I think they can take care of Michigan, their bigs. Janai Broom, Bruce Pearl. I think he gets through, breaks through here, gets Auburn to the Elite Eight. All these one seeds are historically great this year, and I think there's no reason to pick against them unless you have a reason to. Ole Miss and Michigan State. This is a matchup. Ole Miss people throughout the tournament were writing them off as an early exit to UNC, Iowa State. They really ran away with that Iowa State game and the UNC game. They let UNC hang around a little bit, but I think Ole Miss, they've played well enough on the offensive side of the ball. I think they could beat Michigan State. It's a Michigan State team that was up 5 points to a mid-major at halftime in Bryant. I think Ole Miss, I just think they got a chip on their shoulder. People have been writing them off. People writing the SEC off. They're done with it. I think Ole Miss. SEC rules this year. I think Ole Miss. Michigan State, teams that weren't ranked in the preseason cannot. Teams that were ranked in the preseason that were 1 or 2 seeds cannot advance to the Final Four. Teams, that fit that criteria were 0-40. 2 teams that were in it this year, St. John's and Michigan. We already seen St. John's go. Michigan's next on the block. Next game up, Florida, Maryland. I give Maryland a good chance to win this game. I think this is a tough game for Florida, and they can't underestimate this Maryland team. They've lost a lot of close games this year, so they're going to come out and they're going to want to take a lead on these guys. They're going to want to show Florida, be like, hey, Big Ten's here to play. But I think Florida, their size down low, too much for the freshman and Derek Queen, who's a lottery pick. Their guards are just so experienced between Walter Clayton, Elijah Martin. I think these guys they find a way to get through Maryland. Should be a close game. Might be, within maybe 10 points, 10 points. But I think Florida finds a way to get by this Maryland team that their head coach is currently in discussions about leaving for Villanova. So who knows? Who knows what's going on? Will that galvanize locker room? Is everyone already in the portal looking? Who knows? And then you got Texas Tech and Arkansas. And I think, Arkansas, they've been underwhelming all year. I haven't really been a guy to take Arkansas. I don't really love Calipari. Hey, respect though. I didn't think they could go this far. And I think the road ends here, but I think they put up a fight against Texas Tech. I think they can. I think they can keep, if they can keep this game close. It's going to have to be low scoring Arkansas's way. They're going to have to hold them to 70, 65 points. But if Arkansas can do that, I think they give themselves a chance. So we'll take Texas Tech to win that game. But all these Sweet 16 games are awesome. I mean, it's just like these are the best teams. This is what we wanted. So we're going to see some of the best basketball we've seen in a long time, I think, in this tournament.